intro and then we'll go.
And now, please welcome your host from random corners of the world, making his way through the jungle of online businesses to $10 million. Anatoly Spector.
And we are live.
Awesome. How's it going, man?
So it's going amazing.
Yeah,
Everybody, you guys who are listening, welcome to 10 Million Journey. This is my show where you're following my journey, scaling my online business to 10 million in revenue. And I do talk to amazing entrepreneurs along the way to pick up their brain. And my guest today is an amazing entrepreneur, Mina Elias, also known as Egyptian Prescription Elias on Instagram. I'll put a link down below. You guys should check out his Instagram if you like six packs and if you like people who are into sports. I highly recommend that. Mina is an MMA fighter, and he is also an online entrepreneur who built a 7-figure MMA nutrition business. And one of his brands, Hydrolyte, I also put a link to that as well, which is a pre and intra workout powder, is crazy popular on Amazon. Last time I checked, it had over 400 reviews. Congrats on that. And today we're going to talk about how to have a six-pack and build a 7-figure business. And of course, we're going to talk tactics, strategies, and mindsets, everything. So Mina, I'm very excited. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, man.
I'm very excited to have this conversation because, as I told you before, I've been following you for some time. We have a bunch in common. We both do MMA. I'm starting your pro MMA fighter. I'm just starting it out, and we do both sell supplements for Amazon sellers. So I'm very, very excited. I want to start with your background. I know that you were for mechanical engineering and chemistry.
Yeah.
And for like me, this sounds very intense. So how did you get into that field of study?
So basically, growing up, Egyptian and stuff like that, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar. I think people were like in Asian families and stuff too. You had like really few options. As a kid, you can either be an engineer, a lawyer, or a doctor. Anything else, like, your parents weren't really going to be happy. So anyways, I had an engineering mind throughout my whole life. So I knew I was going to be an engineer. I hated like anything to do with doctor. And a lot of people said you would make a good lawyer, but I just didn't feel it. I wasn't feeling it. So I said, okay, I'm definitely going to be an engineer. And then when the time came to choose, a lot of people like started saying, wow, like there's a lot of money in chemical engineering. Like you're going to be like so rich and stuff like that. And I said, I don't mind chemistry. I like chemistry. I said, I'll go for it. It sounds like it's going to make me a lot of money. And so I went for it, got my bachelor's in chemical engineering and chemistry. And I did not make a lot of money right after graduating. So these people were lying. And it turns out that this is a very common pattern, that people just make these things up, like same as when they said, like, if you share the same Wi-Fi on Amazon, your account is going to get banned. It's the same people that are saying chemical engineers make so much money. So, graduated, started working. I was in chemical hazard consulting. So basically I was consulting people on like what's all of the different hazards and how they can follow the guidelines for any product that they have in their facility. But it was very boring because it was just paperwork. Mm-hmm. So they send you, they say, here's what my product is. And you just make a huge document report, and then you send it back to them. So as you can imagine, someone like me who likes what I do, having a lot of like different things and active, I was very bored. I was sitting at a computer 8 hours a day. So I left that job and I was actually going to go into the Air Force. So I took a temporary and project management job at a mechanical engineering company. They were doing heated cooling and sealing. So when I was there, it was so much more fun because I was working with my friend, and there was like a brewery like right across from the it was a good time. It was a lot of fun. Every day I would go into work, I have my breakfast, we're all joking around, life was good. And that's when I realized, like, man, it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. It's more about like who the people I'm doing it with, or what the environment is like. So did that for like a year. Then the company shut down. So, it was out of my control. Really, like some bad things happened with the CFO and stuff like that. So they shut the company down. And then I'm like, you know what? I liked project management way more than what I was doing. So let me keep staying into that. So I became a project manager in construction. And I got into that, which is very far away from chemical engineering. But I said, I'm really good at project management. Like, I should be okay. And so then, like, I started working. I worked my way up from like not knowing anything to managing like around $12 million in jobs. I was doing well. I was the fastest growing, project manager that they had. And but like the leadership was horrible. Like no appreciation, very stingy. Like, they don't want to give you raises, they don't want to give you bonuses, things like that. So at that point, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. Like, I don't know if I'm cut out to just be like a slave, pretty much working for other people. And then at the same time, I was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. And as I was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, he kept saying, he's like, all of this 9 to 5 is a scam. These people are keeping you on a hamster wheel. This is modern day slavery, all this stuff. And that book was there at the perfect time because it resonated very well with me. And I was like, man, you're right. Like this, like, I don't like this. Like, I feel like I'm a modern day slave. I feel like every day I'm showing up to work. And like, I used to, so me, like, I wake up early. I used to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, hit the gym, drive 45 minutes to work, get to work 9 hours, drive 45 minutes back, get to MMA at 5, teach the kids class from 5 to 6. 6:30, I start my own training, 6:30 to 9. 9 o'clock, I'm home, shower, quickly eat, and go to bed. That was my life. And I was
definitely a hamster wheel.
I was like, man, this is not a life. Like, I can't go out on dates. I can't, hang out with friends. I can't do anything. And I don't want to, like, there's so many people that still training MMA and doing everything, but, their life is not like this because work alone was consuming 10 and a half hours of my day. And then, you had MMA was consuming a certain amount of time of my day. And the commutes killed me. It was 45 minutes of wasted time. And so everything combined, plus me feeling like I was underappreciated, all this stuff, I was like, I really have to do something. And so as I was listening to Rich Dad Poor Dad, I had just finished it and I went on vacation to Egypt. And I was chilling with my dad, my mom and my dad. And my dad was asking me, he's like, we were having conversations like, why don't you start your own supplement company? And I said, I don't know anything about supplements. And I was like, actually, no, I know everything about supplements. I don't know anything about starting a company. And he's like, just try it. You figure it out. Maybe you'll invent something. And then my dad is like always like this. But I was like, you know what? Like, let me just look into it. So I looked into how much would it cost if I sourced all of the individual ingredients on Amazon, mixed them, put them in a container that an empty one that I bought from Amazon, just like, what is the cost of goods going to be and what is the sale price? And so my cost of goods the formula that I decided to go with, I did like 10 different formulas. The formula that I decided to go with was an electrolyte powder. And the reason was I was on keto. And when you're on the keto diet, your body's flushing out a lot of the electrolytes. And so I kept looking for supplements that had a lot of electrolytes, high sodium. Nothing had good enough electrolytes. Maybe like 100 milligrams potassium, 50 milligrams. Some of them didn't even have magnesium. Some of them had, maybe 100 milligrams of sodium. So it was almost like, how are these people even selling? But they were selling, And so I was like, okay, I'm going to make this formula. And it seemed like it was going to cost me $5 to make. And $25 on average was the sale price. So I was like, okay, I have a winner here. Like, I can make it for $5, sell it for $25. That's like $20 profit per unit. Obviously, I didn't understand business, didn't know like that there's all of the Amazon fees and advertising and all of the costs that go into building a brand. So I was like, whatever, let's go for it. I hit up a friend. I said, how can I create an LLC? He sent me a link to LegalZoom. He said, just follow these steps. October 10th, this was November 14th when I talked to my dad. November 24th, I was back in America and I had already shipped all of the raw ingredients to my apartment. And I made the first round. At the same time, October 10th, I registered my business. I had already made samples, like 5, and I gave them to friends. And I told them that this is from another company. and they trusted me with these samples. So try them out. Let me know. This is like not on the market yet. So people ate that up. I would, because I'm like a supplement addict. So I had friends who were the same in MMA. They ate that up. And then, once they ate it up, they're like, dude, this is really good stuff. It's helping us. I said, okay, so I'm onto something. I hit up a designer that a friend from college. And mistake number one, whenever you're doing anything for your business, don't use friends and family and all this bullshit. Find the best service that you can afford and use it. Okay? Because unfortunately, your friend is nice and amazing and you want to support them, but they might give you something that's a 5 out of 10 for $100. And you might go to Romania or Ukraine and get a design that's an 8 out of 10 for $70. Okay? So when
you cannot tell your friend, wow, I don't like it, because that's your friend.
Exactly. And actually, I went back and forth with her, a couple of revisions. After the second, I was like, hey, can you tweak this? She ghosted me. She bailed on me. Yeah, she didn't respond to my text, messages, nothing. So, lesson learned. Don't use friends. And I made that mistake multiple times again in the future, where it's like, I meet a friend, they talk, they're like, yeah, man, I've been doing this Google ads, website development. And I say, okay, man, you're my friend. Can you do my website? They don't take the job seriously. Because for me, if I'm around my friends, no one will ever hear me say I can help you, because I know what I can bring to the table. I know my value. So I'm not actively pitching my friends. So my friends will usually come to me and say, hey, can you help with this? But with these people, they're actively selling to their friends, and little do we are good-hearted people. So we say, oh, he's a friend, I'd rather use a friend than a stranger, support your local business, blah, blah, blah. But then, you don't do the vetting process, because if it was my mistake, because I just said, okay, I'll hire you, instead of saying, show me your portfolio. Show me what's your turnaround time? How many revisions? All of this stuff. I didn't go through the whole vetting. And so in exchange, I kind of hurt myself there. So she got the design done. And after she got the design done, I'm like, okay, whatever. Got labels, got bags, put the label on the bag, sticker, filled up the bag with the mix at home. And I did 40. And so when I incorporated my company, I posted on Facebook, and I said, officially owner of MMA Nutrition. I'm so excited. So some guy from Facebook who's a friend hits me up. He's like, we have an MMA event coming up soon, pro fights and stuff. I'll give you a booth for free to support you. And I'm like, wow. Really? He's like, yeah, just bring your product, bring a banner and show. So I went on vistaprint.com, made a banner with my logo, went to the event. The event was super, super fun, by the way. Super fun. But I went to the event, and while I was at the event, 25 out of the 40 sold out. But people kept asking me, where can I buy the product? And so obviously, I had no answer. I thought about saying, go buy it at the gym. Stupid answer. Come on. What do you mean? I'm not going to drive an hour and a half to buy your product. My website didn't even have e-commerce set up. So I couldn't even say buy it on the website, because my website, there's no checkout, there's no buy, nothing. You just view. And so I didn't know anything. I said, it's going to be on Amazon soon. And so basically, kind of just told everyone that it was going to be on Amazon, even though that I had no idea how to get it on Amazon or anything like that. And I went home that day and I said, okay, shit, I got to get this on Amazon. Let me figure out how. So I watched the YouTube videos and read blogs and all this stuff. There was one thing that came out of all of that. I realized that it is possible to sell on Amazon, but I had no idea how still. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do the most logical thing. Picked up the phone and I called Amazon Seller Central. And then I said, hey guys, I'm trying to sell supplements on your website. Can you help me out? Of course, we're more than happy to have you as a partner, blah, 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 all this shit. And then they sent me an email, and it just had, here's how to sign up for a Seller Central account. Here's how to get paid for the supplement category. I said, okay, good enough. Signed up for the account. And then they're like, okay, we need this and this paperwork. I hit up a few manufacturers. I said, can you provide me this paperwork? Like straight up. I didn't say I'm going to buy from you. I said, can you give me this paperwork? They said, sure. Boom. Like all of them like sent different ones. I got one from this guy, one from that guy. Sent it to Amazon. I got rejected like 4 times. And then on the 5th time, they approved it. And so I was good to go, sell on Amazon. Now I'm like, okay, well, let me figure out how I'm going to make these supplements, because right now I made the first 40 myself. So I did a bunch of calculations and looked at equipment, and I said, okay, I can probably bring my friend who he's my roommate. He needs money. I can pay him like $12 an hour, which is, back then was like okay wage. It was better than McDonald's, but it wasn't like anything glamorous. Plus, I didn't have any money, so it's like, it would have been like, hey, like I'm hooking you up, I'm giving you money. So it was $12 an hour.
Yeah.
And I was gonna get him, for $12 an hour, to go in, and he was gonna pretty much mix the stuff and follow my SOP and everything. So I'm like, you know what? Let me try one more thing. I go in, and all of the people that I was gonna buy the raw ingredients from, I hit them up. I said, hey, can you guys do a custom formula for me? Here's the formula. Obviously, I didn't care about people stealing my formula. It's like, imagine if some random guy messages me and says, hey, like, can you look up my formula? I'll be like, dude, I don't have time for you. Go away.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not going to be that mean, but it's like, I'm definitely not going to steal the formula. I don't care. So pretty much he messaged me back. He said, yeah, I can do it. Minimum 100 units. And then, or actually, he didn't even say minimum. I said, can you do 100 units? He said, yeah. And I thought 100 units was a lot. And he's like, yeah, we can do 100. And his price was better than if I had hired someone at home to do it. It came out, the calculation was better. I'm like, okay, that's it. Done deal. I don't know why I never thought about cleaning up my basement. I had a massive basement. Like, think 40 by 30, 40 feet by 30 feet. So that's like 10 meters by 12 meters, or 13 meters.
Wow.
So,
that's
big basement. And I never thought, like, man, maybe I should buy like a machine or something. But I was too small, I wasn't thinking like that. I wasn't thinking like, okay, maybe I'll put like a $500 to $1,000 up front in cost, but it's going to save me in the long run. But whatever, you live and you learn. I also didn't know how to do flavoring and stuff like that. But again, I could have like learned that as I went as well. So, and actually there is a way. So golden nugget for people. This is a quick golden nugget for people who sell supplements. Maybe you're going to learn from it too. There's something called flavor houses. And basically what you can do is you can send them your formula, your raw formula, send it to them, and they will flavor it for you. They'll send you back the samples. If you like it, they'll make you a flavor and sweetener mix. And so all you have to do is you put your raw material in there that's already mixed or whatever, and then you put their flavor mix in there, and the flavor mix is like, for every 1,000 units it's like this much. It's nothing crazy because it's very strong. You pour the flavor mix in there, and that's it. And then once everything mixed up, it tastes perfect, just like the sample. So you don't have to be like an expert at flavoring, or so you can have your own machine, which is something I'm working on right now. You can have your own machine, you can have your own facility. I already have one, but it's like, I'm expanding. Powders and mixing powders is a little bit complicated, but nothing that can't be done. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't have the experience to keep adding like sweetener and this and that, but they just ship me a drum, and it says for every 100 kilograms of hydrolyte mix, put like 500 grams of this powder. Done. And so, it's very, very simple. So that's a golden nugget for the supplement sellers out there. I don't even know if it's a golden nugget, but it's just some information for you guys.
I'm sure it is, because I've been selling supplements. I haven't heard of that, but I don't usually do flavoring and stuff like that. So for those people who have like powders and do flavoring, that's definitely a golden nugget right there.
And for those people that are thinking like machines, facilities, like what is this guy talking about? Look into it. It's not that hard at all. And the FDA is not that strict about approvals and everything. And all you need is for them to audit the facility and be FDA approved. And you can actually have your home kitchen be FDA approved. FYI. Yeah. Or you can have a room in your house FDA approved. Just the room, So a lot of people, they have limiting beliefs, and they say, oh, it's impossible to have a facility without $100,000. I'm like, no, it's possible. You can have it with $3,000, $2,000. And if you think about it, I spent $2,000 easily in like 1 or 2 runs. If I'm doing 1,000 unit runs, at least in the first run, 1,000 units, I already spent $2,000 paying the manufacturer. The raw ingredients and everything is cheaper. So
exactly.
So anyway, so basically, I got into, I figured out who's going to make my supplements. I said, okay, make me 100, send it to Amazon. Now I'm like, okay, amazing. How am I going to sell this supplement on Amazon? Like, how do I get it to sell? Like, okay, now I have it. Now I have the listing. And so creating the listing and all of that stuff, you will laugh, because I had the main image of the product, the supplement facts, and then I had pictures of me and my friends with the product.
Why not?
Like literally, there was one where me and my friend were standing like this, and then there was someone in the middle holding the products at the event, still from the event. So I'm telling you, like, I didn't know anything. I like really didn't know anything, and it was, I don't know, like if you land on a YouTube channel or a YouTube ad, it's like, hey, you can make money passively online, blah blah blah, and then you go down that rabbit hole, you start seeing a lot of things. But I never ever like reached that like ad. So for me, I was literally like trying to Google things, but I didn't really know like what to Google, like how to sell on Amazon, like what is Amazon listing? Who even knew the word listing? Like, imagine before you start on Amazon, listing, what is the listing? Amazon product, you don't know what a listing is. So a lot of language that I didn't know. So I did a deep dive, and I figured out 2 things. Number 1, I need to have good sales velocity. So I have to tell all of my friends to start buying on my product. And then number 2, I needed reviews. So luckily I was the lowest priced product on the market. I said, okay, let me just go hard on reviews. A lot of people were like, you can't ask your friends, this, that, same Wi-Fi, same area, Facebook friends. I didn't listen, because I wasn't even in the groups. And so, even when I was like, okay, I already been doing this for like 3 months and nothing happened. You guys are full of shit. So I hit up every single person in any MMA gym that I've ever met. And I said, hey, I'll give you money. I'll Venmo you right now if you leave me a review. Like, if you buy my product, leave me a review. And 90% said yes. Obviously, 10% said no. So from the 90%, I started getting review. And I noticed, as my reviews went up, my sales went up. And so I had figured out one part of the puzzle, which is the reviews. Now, the other part of the puzzle, so the reviews were improving my listing conversion rate. And maybe people were clicking on my listing in the search more. But there was one thing that I really needed more than anything, and it was PPC. And so for the first 4 or 5 months, PPC was my obsession. Okay. And so I was like trying to learn everything possible, like every single thing possible about PPC. I was watching every single video, but the education out there was horrible, like very, very, very bad. People were saying, put one auto campaign, one manual campaign, one whatever, like broad phrase and exact in the manual campaign. So there were just a lot of bad information out there. So one day my friend hits me up and she's like, hey, my sister does Amazon stuff too. And, obviously I'm like, okay, what do you mean? Like, does Amazon stuff? She's an Amazon seller. Okay, amazing. Can you connect me? I'm like, yeah, amazing. Please connect me. And then I hit the girl up. She's like, yeah, I manage like a $12 million Amazon account. And I said, wow. Hey, so you have access to resources. But then after talking to her, I realized that it's a CPG brand and she doesn't really know that much. So with the problem with CPG brands is you don't have to be like me to make $12 million. You have to barely just keep everything not breaking because the product sells itself because it's already in stores and everyone's already looking for it on Amazon. And so, I was talking to her, I was like, okay, do you know anything about PPC? Okay, what about auto? She's like, listen, I don't know that much. You sound like you know more, but there's people that definitely know more. And it was back when Tenuity was called CPC Strategy. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
1 second. I got to close my alarms. Okay. Back when Tenuity was known as CPC Strategy, she said, show up for this like event, a conference. The early bird special was $300. And so I said,
All right.
$300, man, that's a lot of money. But you know, when you're 9 to 5, I already put like thousands in my inventory and stuff. I said, okay, I'll bite the bullet. I really feel like I need this. Went to the conference. Man, I got 16 hours worth of consultations from $300.
Wow.
That's like $20 a consultation per hour.
Wow.
So I showed up to the conference and I started talking to the people, and I'm like, wow, this guy is doing 50 million in sales. This guy is doing the, Under Armour, Starkest Tuna, One Bar, big brands. Pampers was there, like the account manager for Pampers. I was like, wow, man, like these people are like killing it. They're straight killing it. And so I went to the people who were hosting the event, and I was like a shark, I was like going after them. I was go after the first guy. Hey man, how's it going? My name is Mina. What do you do? Okay, this. Okay, how do I improve my listing? Like, what are the top 10 things? What about images? What should be in the images? What about this? And they had talks. So as they had the talk, like this guy AJ, for example, was talking about listing optimization. So right after the talk was done, I'd be like, dude, amazing talk that taught me so much. So listen, can I ask you a few questions? And then I would write in my notebook, AJ listing optimization. And then I would find him later in like when everyone's having lunch or whatever, and be like, oh, AJ, what's up here? Can I have lunch with you? Okay, cool, man. Hey, by the way, like, how did you go about listing? And just like asking. It honestly, I didn't care that I didn't know anything or I wasn't adding any value. I had to survive. Like, I had one goal in my mind. I need to figure this thing out or else my business is going to die. And so one thing that I was doing throughout this whole thing, I read Think and Grow Rich. So have you read that book by Napoleon Hill?
Yeah, amazing book. Definitely.
Yeah. And so he said, like, you have to set a goal. It has to be like a big, strong goal. It has to be defined. It has to be precise. And so every morning while I was driving to work, I kept saying, like, buy. So I started selling on Amazon November 2018, and I kept saying, by May 31st, 2019, I will be making $5,000 net profit per month, and I will quit my full-time job, my like 9 to 5 job, and be full-time in my business. And so every morning I was repeating that 5-10 times on the drive to work, and every evening I was repeating that 5 to 10 times on the drive away from work. And as I was driving to work, it was fueling me. It was like, Mina, like, you see how much you hate your job, like, work hard on your Amazon business because you need to get out. And then on the way back, I'm like, you see how shitty of a day this was because you went to work? Keep working hard on your Amazon business because you're gonna get out. And so I was doing this, and then I show up to this conference, and then it all like clicked for me because as I was talking to these people, I realized that, like, for the longest time, like, you see some people and you're like, wow, man, like, this guy's doing $1 million, this guy's doing 2 million, especially like when my salary is $70,000, like, a million a year, like, this is like unbelievable, I can't believe it. And so then I met all of these people, and I was like, wow, man, like, that was the first time. I still have my name tag from that conference because that was the first time in my life that I really believed in myself. I really believed, like, after talking to these people, I'm like, man, no one is special. No one is smart. No one has money. No one started from money. These people all started from the bottom up. These people all worked hard. These people all, like, their IQ level is normal. It's nothing, not Einstein IQ level. Yeah. Why do they have millions and I don't? And the reason is they just worked harder for longer, were resourceful, never quit, learned more every day. And I saw that, and I realized, like, when you think, like, oh man, like, I can never be a world champion, like this guy who's a world champion, he's got some sort of like genetic gifts and stuff like that. Yeah. And then you meet him, like, for me, like, I'll meet some UFC fighters, I'll train with them, and I'm like, I don't know, bro, like, this he doesn't seem like he's anything special. And so after that is like, I fully realized, like, man, these people, they don't have anything special. They just worked hard enough. They worked harder than everyone. They learned, they have more experience. And so it clicked for me, and I believed in myself. I was like, this is the first time I really believed when I said that, like, I'm by May 31st, 2019, I'm gonna be making $5,000 net profit per month. And I'm going to quit my full-time job. That's when I really believed it now when I said it. And so from there, I just, deep dive into PPC, kept getting better and better and better. And I was a very fast failer. So I would fail a lot and quickly, and I would immediately come back up. And I was networking a lot, and so eventually I wanted to quit my job May 31st. They fired me April 31st. So
wow, why did they fire you?
I don't know. They didn't give a reason, but it's probably because I didn't care anymore, and you see how high energy I am. So my energy level was like this at work, and then it became like this. And I was just focused on what can I do for my Amazon business. I don't really care about this 9 to 5 anymore. I don't want to even come up with ideas. If someone tells me to do something, I'm like, okay. And I get it done. And so they might have thought like, oh, wow, like this guy has an offer from another company or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know, or maybe they didn't like my performance anymore. But it's weird because they didn't like replace me; they just like let me go. So it's weird. But anyways, so April 30th, it happened, and then I went home that day and I sat down and I'm like, okay, I'm making like $4,400 a month in net profit, so I could do this. And then, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, but if my expenses are $4,000 a month. And not because like I want them to be. I have student loans and all of this stuff, and it adds up. And I have no one here. Like I have me, sisters in Texas. That's it. So I'm kind of like fully independent. Like I don't get anything from anyone. And at the time, still, but now I give people. But like before, I didn't have like anyone that I can like maybe, hey, like I'm gonna move in to this guy's house and save money. Like I didn't have any of that. So that's why my bills were like close to 4,000. But I'm like, the business is not gonna grow that way. My parents are in Egypt. I said, I haven't seen them in a while. So what if I just did an extended vacation? Extended vacation, work from home. So packed my bags and I told everyone, first I said, I got to get out of Connecticut. I was in Connecticut. So I went to Vegas, Miami, and LA. And then when I landed in LA, I fell in love. Like every time I leave LA, man, I miss it so much. This is my home. LA is my home. It was supposed to be my home. I was just like away from home. And then I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to move to LA when I get back from Egypt. So I packed everything in my life, put it in my car and like a small storage container in my friend's house, or not a storage container, like in his basement in like the corner. And so basically flew out to Egypt in June, stayed till the end of October. Sorry. So June to end of October, I was in Egypt and I was spending like $500 a month on bills, or maybe with the student loans and everything, like $1,500. So I went from 4,000 to 1,500. I was saving a lot of money. And so, sorry, I was able to reinvest all of that money into the business. And so as I was like, that was the kind of the time where I was like getting into Facebook ads, Instagram ads. So I started getting into Facebook ads, Instagram ads, doing like a bunch of different stuff. And it was just like, honestly, I wasn't making a lot of progress with it. And so luckily I read the book, thank God I had read this book while I was there called The One Thing. You might have heard of it. Definitely. And after I read the book, man, everything is like, what am I doing? I'm doing Facebook, I'm doing Instagram. Look at the stuff that's making you the money, which is the Amazon and PPC. So I doubled down on Amazon, doubled down on reviews, doubled down on PPC. And you will not believe it. In 1 month, I went from $23,000 a month in sales to $38,000 a month in sales. And so that was like a massive, that's, from 23 plus like 15, that's, over 50%. And I was like, man, this is what I've been doing wrong. I've been scatterbrained. I don't know. I have not been every single day. Every single day anyone starts their day, in my opinion, you need to sit down, look at everything that you have to do, everything, and then prioritize it, and then get to work. Before starting, before looking at your email, before anything, okay? You first prioritize what you got to get done, And then you can go into your email. If anything needs to get added, okay, add it to your task list. And then again, prioritize everything, because some guy might be like, hey, can you like send an invoice over? Okay, but I need to work right now on like getting a new flow for my reviews. So that I'm gonna work on that. That's what's gonna make me money. The invoice, okay, like I'll do it later. It's just paperwork, So that's when everything kind of like clicked. Then fast forward, I stayed there. By the end of my stay, so October 31st, I was doing $10,000 a month in net profit. So I had gone from the 4,400 to 10,000, and I was way more confident. Flew out, spent the month traveling, like you do all over the States, just different people's houses. I was very light already. I only had one suitcase and my laptop bag and stuff. So I was just like, okay, let me visit my friend here, friend there. Anyways, rent would have been more expensive than I was also flying on points, because so here's another trick. If you guys are in the US, you get the Chase Inc. preferred card and put it on your PPC account for Amazon PPC. You'll get 3 times miles per dollar spent. So I was spending like $10,000 a month in PPC. So I was getting 30,000 miles a month on my credit card. And for me, a round trip and an odd date is maybe like if I go fly from Tuesday to like Friday, or Tuesday to maybe Sunday or whatever, it's 12,500 miles. And I was getting 30,000. So even a good flight was like 25,000 miles. So I was able to fly. I mean, I racked up like a few flights, 3 or 4 flights before coming to the US. So, and I got like my bonus miles and everything. So when I got to the US, I flew, visited a bunch of friends, and then I was like, okay, time to like packed up all my stuff in a car, just one, shipped the car to California, and then flew out to California, and then, like came here. And then honestly, ever since I moved to California, like I was doing this, and then I did this. Like I just started growing so much faster, which really speaks volumes to like how important your environment is, because I was in like the right environment. There was successful people around me. I started an Amazon and Los Angeles Amazon seller meetup. We get like 30 plus people every single month. It's once a month. It's this Saturday as well. 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. We get 30 plus people, and it's still happening. And I started surrounding myself with all these really, in the Amazon successful business people. And I realized like whoever's around you is really impacting you. And so as I had these people around me, I started growing and growing and growing. And then as I surpassed people, I had higher people and more successful people around me. And my growth just started, becoming more and more and more every single day that I spent here in LA. And so that's kind of like my story. I mean, I can dive into like a couple other businesses that I started, but there's one cool thing that I'm doing right now that I want to touch on before all of the audience falls asleep. So eventually, I got me, like I became a well-known name in the Amazon community and stuff like that. So I went to Samar Brax. He's has an FBA YouTube channel, and I said, listen, you need content for your channel, and I can provide really good content. I think people are really attracted to drama. So here's what what I want to do. And so basically, I said, let's do this. I'm going to take a product that me and you both like from scratch. And on camera, we'll document everything, the formulation, coming up with the label, the container sourcing, getting it on Amazon, listing optimization, everything, PPC, our profit and loss statements, everything will be transparent. And then I said, on top of that, because of all, to kind of like counter all the people that say you need money to make money, what if I did it on Kickstarter, even though I don't know anything on Kickstarter, and raised the money there. And so I said, everything that I don't know, I'm going to do it in this journey, in this series, so I can learn it, and everyone will watch me learn. And then on top of that, because it's a series, we can kind of leverage people and say, let's say, Anatoly, you're like an expert in listing optimization. I'll be, hey, Anatoly, I have a YouTube channel. There's this, 40,000 subscribers, blah, blah, blah. We have this huge series, thousands of views. Would you like to come on the channel and speak about how you can optimize our product? So the company is called Neuro, N-U-R-O.
Mhm.
And but basically, how can you come and improve like the Neuro listing? So we get a free consultation, we get value, and we share this value with the audience. And so the product we settled on is a nootropic coffee alternative. We wanted something for us, entrepreneurs, business owners, people who are like working coffee, like really. Some people are not tolerant to coffee. Number one, it makes you go to the bathroom. Number two, it gives you like jitters. You feel anxious. It's a lot of like energy. If you have it in the evening, you might not go to bed. So we wanted a healthy alternative, something that we get the caffeine from guarana and kola nut, like natural energy. It has nootropics like lion's mane, cordyceps, reishi, like the good mushrooms. We have adaptogens like maca, ashwagandha, which are like very good for your body and for your system. And then we make it into like a delicious coffee latte, like what you're drinking now, but way tastier. And then you replace your morning ritual. So we're thinking of calling it ritual, but you replace your morning ritual by waking up in the morning and making that and looking forward to making that. And instead of feeling bad or kind of like being dependent on coffee, indulging in something that is good for you. Maybe we'll do like a couple versions, one that will have some sugar, one that will have no sugar. It's not a big deal, but that's kind of where we were. And so to even push it a little bit further, I thought, Samer, what if we raised money and got sponsors? So luckily, there was enough people. Getida, I don't know if you know Getida, they do Amazon FBA reimbursements. They're like really good. They sponsored us. We have Thrasio, billion-dollar company that buys Amazon businesses, sponsored us. Ping Pong Payments, they're like international payment processor, sponsored us. Incrementum, which is a PPC advertising agency, sponsored us. Sellerize, we're doing a lot of cool stuff with Sellerize because they have like a dashboard. We're working with them to create a budget, a launch budget. Basically, you go in before your launch, we ask you questions, every single possible thing that you might have to, like expense that you might have to incur, you put in the information and you actually get exactly how much the launch is going to cost you. Because sometimes you think it's going to be 3,000, it's actually 6. And then you're like, oh man, I'm in a tight situation. But if you can see all of the expenses up front, either save more money and go in with 6, or kind of manage and say, okay, maybe I'm going to do 800 units instead of 1,000. Maybe I'm going to do less, 3 giveaways a day instead of 5, and so on. And then finally, we have PickFu. PickFu is incredibly powerful because we are using them to get like PickFu. What it does is I can say, okay, do you like the name Neuro Ritual, or do you like the name Neuro Ascend, for example? And we put up the 2 pictures or the 2 names, whatever, on their platform, and we pay money, and people give their feedback, and they can say why. They say, well, honestly, I like Neuro Ritual because it sounds like something I was going to use. Oh, Neuro Ascent sounds cooler because it makes me feel like I'm going to elevate and be in a better position. So we were able to get like all of these incredible sponsors that we believe in to sign up. And here's the best part of this is now we have these people backing us. These people have been in the game a long time. They're backing us, and at the same time, because they're backing us, I'm like, for example, Getida, I said, hey, Yoni, we're doing this Kickstarter, and we would love if we can create a lead magnet that sends to a landing page, and then we get the audience pixeled, whoever visits the landing page. So then when the Kickstarter time comes, we can start retarget them, say, hey, the Kickstarter is live. Hey, the Kickstarter is live. He said, don't worry, I got you. Connected us with, he showed us what he's going to do, what he does for his business, how he does lead magnets and retargeting, connected us with people that can help set everything up, put in an amazing word. And so that's kind of like the beauty, not that we're going to keep this for ourselves. Remember, everything that I learn and Samer learns, the audience learns. So we're really taking it to the next level. It's like I'm no longer doing just like a case study with like a toy or whatever, some random thing. No, I'm doing a business that I am proud to be my business. It's going to be a coffee alternative. I'm going to drink it. Everyone around me, I'm going to say, dude, you need to try this, because I'm going to make sure that it's a really, really good product. Now that I have the experience, I can do that. I can show everyone, but I'm not good enough, because there's people way, way, way better than I am at every single part of the business. There's experts in every single thing. So I said, let's bring every single one of them that we can bring. Okay, tell me how to do Kickstarter the best way. Tell me how to do inspections the best way. Tell me how to do payments the best way, across the country. Tell me how to do accounting the best way. The landing page, email lists, Shopify, everything, And so that's kind of my newest adventure. Very, very excited for it because it touches on everything. It's my passion, which is supplements and kind of biohacking. It's a product I'm going to be proud of. It's a new business and I love new challenges. I'm going to learn so much. We're adding so much value to the community and I'm connecting with people, which is, one of the things that I love doing. So it was kind of like a home run for me, when this project came up.
Wow, man. So many questions. I have so many questions.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Such a great overview of what you're doing. And I like what you're doing more than, I guess, you're doing a little bit different from other people. So the actual thing in the Amazon community is I find product that sells and I do similar to that product. And I did similar thing to that. But what you did, you found your passion and then you moved through your passion, and that elevates you and that gives you all the energy and everything to build it like a big business, which is amazing. One of the things I want to ask you, and this is for people who are just starting out, but I think it's very, very important to get more and more people in our funnel of doing Amazon because this gives them freedom. So everything I can do about it, I'm trying to do my best. So I was talking to a friend of mine. He's also in the MMA community, and I shared I'll be interviewing you. And I told him that you're an MMA fighter. And first thing he asked me is, are you, and that you're selling supplements. So one thing he asked me is like, is this guy a popular fighter? Because in the MMA community, I think the mindset is that you need to be a star like Conor McGregor before you get like very popular and then you build a business. My answer was that entrepreneurship and MMA, well, you connected both. You don't have to be popular to be an entrepreneur.
No one knows me.
I want to hear from you.
No, I'm barely anything in the like as a fighter. But here's the thing: when I came to this new gym in California, and I told everyone, and I gave them, man, you know how the MMA community is. Everyone like loves everyone. They all supported me. They all posting about me on Instagram, and so like I'm blessed. But no, I'm in no way like no one knows me. I have maybe 2,000, 3,000 followers on Instagram. Like that's it. So. In the Amazon community, I have a big name because I come up on a lot of podcasts and YouTube channels and things like that, and I'm doing projects like this, like Neuro. But in the MMA community, no, I'm not well known at all. I'm not even known. People know me who have trained with me. That's it.
Yeah. So for somebody who want to start their business, they might be afraid. They might think, oh, I don't know what to do. And let's say they are in sports and they want to get sports supplements. So if you would give them one advice to push them forward so they can start this business, what advice would you give somebody who would come to you and say, you're doing amazing, but I'm not sure I can do it?
Okay. So here's what I want everyone to actually ask themselves. Ask yourself, what is the realistic worst case scenario? Because so many of us think this: you're going to start your business, you're going to fail, you're going to sleep on the street. For some reason in your mind, you think that. Okay. But I always asked myself, and I got this, trust me, in Egypt, things got rough. And I asked myself, man, what if I lose all of this? And thankfully, like I heard this somewhere, but it's what is the actual worst case scenario? So for me, if all of my businesses fail, what's the actual worst case scenario? Okay, I might have to leave my apartment, so I'm just gonna have to downgrade to another apartment. I'm gonna call a few people, ask them if they have job opportunities. I have a really good resume, so within 1 month, I can get at least a full-time job that will support me. Maybe I'm not gonna be in this apartment; I'll be in like a smaller one, but like. That's it. That's the worst. That's the worst case scenario is I'm just going to have to like go to another apartment, have a full-time job until I build my businesses again. Is it that bad?
Same.
Is it?
I actually posted, I posted the same thing on Instagram and I just said that if I lose everything and if things doesn't go wrong, I'll just go get a full-time job for a year and then get it all back because, well, once you're there, you're there. So you don't lose much. You just but what you gain, I think this is risk reward ratio is so high here that
Exactly.
you just should do it.
And
There's no reason not to do it.
And think about it. If you fail and you go back to your 9 to 5 job, you're going to end up where you are right now in your 9 to 5 job. So most people who are starting, who are listening, you probably have a 9 to 5 job. So if everything happens and you make money and lose money, all this stuff, and you end up in a 9 to 5 job, it's like, if you don't do anything, you're going to end up in the 9 to 5 job anyways. And then people are like, oh yeah, but it's $5,000. I'm going to lose $5,000. I'm like, listen, you're not going to lose $5,000. You're going to lose $5,000 if you spend the money and then don't do anything. But if you actually try to sell, you're going to learn so much. I've spent personally $120,000 on my education, on my formal education, bachelor's degree and master's degree. I was an international student. I still, there's a lot of student loans that I have to pay off that I'm actively paying off. But, I spent that much money to learn chemistry and chemical engineering and then get my first job out of college. Not gonna lie, $35,000. Yeah. $35,000. Dude, I might as well have just worked in a bar or something, because it's the same thing. So people are like, oh, I might lose $4,500. You're not going to lose this is education. Because first of all, the only way that you can fail is if you quit. If you never quit, you will never, ever, ever fail. If you never quit, you'll never fail. That's the only way for you to fail. And so if you never quit, you won't fail. Any money that you spend doing this, it's an investment in yourself, in your education. You're going to grow. You're going to learn from it. Unless you choose not to learn the lessons, or unless you choose to be very negligent or whatever. And then if you don't take personal accountability, so I've heard so many people, Amazon is a scam. This course is a scam. This business, too many competitors. Sounds like a lot of blaming everyone else but yourself. But for me, every morning I wake up and I'm like, what is everything that I did wrong or that I can do better? Or whenever anything happens, and maybe for example, one of my business partners, they needed to submit a document, they did. I don't say, why didn't you submit that document? I say, why wasn't I able to effectively follow up and make sure that they didn't forget? Because there was the possibility that they were going to forget. And I knew that because I know that they're a human being, but I didn't have an effective system in place. So once you shift that accountability to yourself, everything changes.
Yeah. There's a good book called, I think, Radical Ownership by Jocko Willink. I might be wrong with the name, but that's exactly about it.
Extreme ownership.
Extreme ownership. Sorry. Yeah. Radical is something else. The other book I was reading. Yeah. So definitely, it's all about taking control. If you don't take control, nothing will happen. The only way to get ahead in life is just to take full control of everything, and then
100%.
Then you won't have anyone to blame. So I'm 100%.
That was one of the biggest changes in my life from 9 to 5, when I felt like, this $35,000 job to the, this next project manager job to the other. I always felt like I only had one option, and life was giving me these things and I was just taking it. I felt like I was on a ride and not like the controller. And I felt like I was a passenger, not a driver. And so when I did that, when I started taking full accountability of everything, my entire life changed, and you do become in control, and then you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. Everything is possible.
Yeah. Amazing. I have a section that's called rapid fire question. Ask every entrepreneur to just give your opinion on certain things. So one of them is, if you had $5,000, you didn't have any lists, no connections, no employees, just knowing what you know, and let's say you need to pay out the debts in the next 60 to 90 days, what would you do?
So pretty much what I would do is I would find every single service and vet them heavily that, let's say Amazon sellers are looking for. So I would find whether it's graphic design, sourcing, inspection, whatever, get all of that. And then I would reach out and start selling those services white labeled under my own name and just make money as the middleman. That should bring me enough money quickly. And then at that point, I'll have connections with all of the services, and I'll have enough money, and then I can start my own business, and then utilize all of the connections that I already made.
Yeah, that's a great approach. That's new. Good. That's nobody had that before. Thank you. So we talk about entrepreneurship. You reached lots of success in this business, which is amazing, but I'm sure there was some failures. So I don't want everyone to feel that Mina is a Superman that never fails.
Oh yeah.
Can you talk about some of your failures and how you dealt with them?
Okay, so my first failure, obviously, like I talked about, was the using a friend and then her kind of disappearing on me. So the first failure was not vetting people enough. Second failure was not doing an inspection. So my first 100 units, they actually went out to Amazon. 60 of them, the bag blew up during shipping because I didn't have any inspection done. So, you know, when it just fell from the guy's hand into the Amazon truck, that wasn't, the bags were very weak. They broke. So I got a lot of returns, and then learned from there. Make sure you inspect all of the bags before they go out. And so I created an inspection protocol after that. Another failure is, okay, when hiring services, you think this, you think, let's say you say, okay, Mina, can I hire you as a PPC company? I'll say, okay, cool. I'm going to do your PPC. You think that I'm just going to make you money. That's the problem. The way that I failed so much is I'll hire an email software company. I'll hire an email follow-up, whatever company. I'll hire like a Google Ads company. I'll hire like a website company. And then I say, okay, go ahead, like do your thing. This is the worst thing ever, because you don't want anyone to do their thing. What you want is you want to have a very clear and defined scope. Very, very, very clear, defined. And then from there, say, here's what I expect. Here's the deliverables. Here's the timeline. Here's how we're going to measure success. This is a very important one. How do we measure success? Here's how we measure success. It has to be measurable, because if you hit these things, you're good. You get your money. Here's how much it's going to cost. And here's, you know, the full timeline. So it's not like one time I hired a company and I didn't set a timeline, and it took them 8 months and the project wasn't completed. So I had to fire them. Yeah. So I've made those failures, you know, many times, multiple times in the past. One of the biggest things that I would say is a failure that it took me a while to overcome is thinking that there's a silver bullet. Are you familiar with the silver bullet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thinking that there's a silver bullet, silver bullet is basically, you know how we always get these thoughts like, man, you know, if I bring this guy, like he's really good at Shopify and Facebook ads, and then he's going to take my company to 100 million. This does not exist. It's not a real thing. It's imagination. You can leave it for the movies because it does not exist in real life. There's no silver bullet. There is brick by brick by brick. As you evolve and improve and your skill set evolves, so will your income. So don't think that something is going to come from the outside, some external thing, silver bullet, and you're going to fire that gun and boom, you're going to have this massive success. It does not happen overnight. People look at me and you're like, wow. And I'm like, dude, I've been clawing my way up like 1% every day. Like you can see it in my nails. Like I'm scratching my way, you know, up this like very steep mountain. You know, it doesn't happen overnight. It's just, you're talking to me after I've been doing this every single day, 365 days a year, you know, 2 years later. So it seems like a lot has happened in a short time, but no, it's so painful. And it's like one mistake after the next mistake after the next mistake. So don't think that there's ever a silver bullet, because that was one of the biggest things that hurt me in my business, is thinking that there's these people that are going to come in and solve my issues. Oh, you know what? My issue is, and you tell yourself this, you validate, you say, you know what? My issue is my listing sucks. If I had a listing company that came in, my conversion rate would skyrocket. I would have the best. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. You know what? You have to understand your market. You become good at making listings, then hire a company who has the skill set of making listings, manage that project very effectively, get a deliverable that you're happy with. And then from there, you know, you're going to improve a little bit. And then you're going to find the next thing that's going to move you up a little bit, and then up and then up and then up until you get to the top. But nothing's going to take you from here to here. It just doesn't exist. So that I already talked about my failure of being like when I was scatterbrained. So when I was in Egypt and I thought, okay, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads, shopping ads, YouTube ads. Guys, focus on one thing, get really good at it. Once you are at a point where it's systemized and delegated, and then you do have extra time to kind of like explore a new thing, go for it. You know, fully systemize and maximize one thing that you're really good at. Like for me, that was PPC. Now I have a full-time employee, 40 hours a week, manages PPC, you know, for all of my brands. And he's like very effective. And I review all of his work. And then from there, I'm now spending other times, for example, learning Kickstarter, you know. But if I was learning Kickstarter while not focusing enough on PPC, when that's what's making me my most money, Amazon PPC, I consider that was one of my failures, you know. So there's that. Okay, partnerships was a big failure. So I would consider my first partnership a big failure, because a person approached me, said, hey, like, let's work together. You know, I have this amazing idea. And I said, sure, let's give it a shot. He was a friend. But the problem is there's so much that goes into a business. It's when you're in business with someone, it's like you're married, because you have to make these decisions together. And you can say, hey, maybe we're partners. You say, hey, Mina, I want to spend $500 on YouTube ads for our 10 million journey podcast. I say, no, man, that's stupid. Like, we're not going to get a return. Now what? How do you solve that issue? You know, so it's like, so you have to be very, very, very careful with the people you partner with. Number one, make sure that there is zero ego involved. So the person that you partner with does not have an ego. They're not going after, I want to be the greatest, I want to be a CEO, like all of this stuff, because that's, you know, all like child stuff. I don't care what you call me in the business. Call me the janitor, whatever. As long as my bank account is growing, that's what matters. You know, so there's like the ego. Also, what are you guys going to do? Because I would like to partner with someone that doesn't know anything about Amazon, doesn't know anything about, you know, PPC, but maybe is incredible at Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads, you know, landing pages and all of this stuff. Perfect. So let's partner. You do that and just give me updates, and I'll do my stuff and I'll give you updates, and we're good, because then we took one and one and we added them together. And not only do they make two, they can make three, because we can combine our effects together. I can say, hey, I want you for every single ad to split test going to our website and going to Amazon. And then we can like kind of like look at and see, is this going to work out or not? And then look at the personality types before you start the business. So this is something I actually just did yesterday with two of my partners on the Neuro. I said, so I'm an ESTJ executive. The other one was INFJ advocate, and the other one was a logician or whatever. So you have to understand, like, I'm a very like stringent, organized like person who likes order. Everything needs to be in a system, but overly harsh. And then the INFJ is like nice and kind and helpful and helps other people, but burns out easy. And then the other person is like amazing ideas, but all over the place. So once we identified that, I'm like, okay, so when you have ideas, since they're all over the place, run them by me and I'll organize them. And then since you are prone to burnout, you know, every time, you know, like every time you're going to do a task, talk to me so I can make it seem manageable and make sure that you're not biting more than you can chew, things like that. And then I told them about me, since I'm a little bit harsh, I'm going to have the conversation with the other guy, and then he can present the conclusion in a nice and in a nice way. And then, you know, every time I'm inflexible, just say, you know, hey, reminder to be more flexible or something like that. And I'll be like, yeah, I remember we talked about it, you know, things like this. So understanding that everyone has different personality types. And so one of my biggest failures was partnerships. And it's because I didn't do any of this. I didn't do the personality types. I didn't check that the person had an ego or didn't have an ego. I didn't check the compatibility of the relationship. They were not complementary. You know, they kind of, you guys have to bring equal amount of value. So for us here today, I bring value to the audience. You bring value by presenting me with brand awareness or personal branding. So this is why this works. Now, if I couldn't provide any value, then why you wouldn't have me on your show? Or for example, if you said, well, you can only talk about certain things, you can't talk about this or that, and I felt like, okay, then no one's gonna know anything about anything, then I would be like, okay, like doesn't work for me, for example. So there has to be an equal exchange of value in any relationship, business relationship, for it to work. Even if it's just services or whatever, the service rendered needs to be equal to the money that you're going to pay, the exchange of value. So I would say that's kind of a summary of a lot of the mistakes that I made. I've made a ton, man. I don't think anyone has made more mistakes than I have made.
And that's why you are where you are, because the more mistakes you make, the more we grow. Amazing.
I'm okay making the mistakes and failing, because I just learn. At the end of the day, on the other side, I know for a fact what works and what doesn't work. So if I put my hand in the fire, it might burn me, but I will 100% know that the fire is hot.
Yeah, I'm with you. Every day I'm looking and thinking, how can I fail today? What can I do that is over my head that I can fail? And if I does fail, it shows me that I'm on the right path, because if I don't fail day in, day out, I'm just doing the same thing and there's no growth. So 100% with 100%. You. So 2 more questions. First one, actually, this usually is the last one, but I have the last one about UFC, so I'll ask the one I usually ask, the last one pre-last. This is my journey, and I ask every guest to give me an advice. So currently, I have a business. I'm scaling it to 1 million and then to 10 million. Currently, I'm doing about 200,000 from Amazon business. I'm selling free products right now and doing Amazon FBA. So it's not much, but knowing what you know, what advice could you give me?
So I would say build your systems incredibly, incredibly tight. So first of all, anything that you do in your business should be documented. There should be a standard operating procedure. There should be a training video explaining that standard operating procedure. It should be all centralized somewhere. And there should be a very clear visual flow on everything that you do in your business. Once you get to that point where everything is systemized, every single time you launch a new product, it follows that same procedure, and it makes scaling much, much, much easier. Also, having all of those systems allows you to now bring in assistants. You can bring in a virtual assistant. $300 a month is not going to impact your bank account as much. But however, if you bring someone, pay them $300 a month, and use them ineffectively, it's going to hurt you. But if you have your standard operating procedures very, very tight, your flows very, very tight, you bring someone on, you can onboard them in a week. They can gain all of the skills that they need within a week, because they're going to watch exactly how Anatoly does it, and they're going to duplicate that. You're basically going to clone yourself. And then from there, you're just going to keep growing that business. To get to from 200,000 to $1 million is not that hard, because if you're doing it now with 3 products, then think about this. You just need another 3 and then another 3. And probably once you hit 9, and the best way to get to 9 is to just, without spending so much effort, is to just duplicate your efforts very, very effectively, using the same systems and procedures. Another thing that I would say is you have to surround yourself with people who are doing 1 million or more on Amazon. The way that they think will subconsciously go to you. And so if you hung out with people, with me and a few other people who are doing over 7 figures in Amazon, eventually you're gonna keep hearing the same things, and you're gonna start thinking in the same way. And so for me, that's been one of the biggest drivers of success. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with those people. Not saying that you have to cut everyone else out of your life, but make it 90% 7-figure and then 10% everyone else. So you're not an asshole. You're not cutting people out of your life. Every single day, you should be learning and investing in yourself. And so that's networking is a great way to do that, because every single day that you network, you meet someone who has a skill set that you don't have. You can learn something from them. And then obviously, if you're always investing in education and courses, you're improving, because at the end of the day, how the business is doing is a direct reflection of you. So if the business is doing 200,000, it's because you're a 200,000 person. If the business is doing a 20 million, it's because you're a 20 million person. You'll never meet someone who's doing 50 million, but he doesn't really know like accounting, and he doesn't really know like the employees and systems. No, someone who's doing 50 million knows accounting, knows finances, knows employees, knows team management, leadership, systemization, all of this stuff, maybe even raising capital. So You have to understand that you're the head of the company, and whatever the body of the company is, it's just because that's where the head is. So if the head goes up, everything is going to follow.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. That's exactly what we are doing, actually. Thank you. Now I know we're on the right track because I'm recording all the operating procedures. I hired VA who's doing a great job, actually. And we are scaling and growing in new products. And all I'm doing is connecting with people like yourself and picking up your guys' brain to get where I need to be. So thank you for validating what I'm doing.
Awesome.
Amazing. So the last question I do have, and it's, of course, UFC related. What do you think, Conor McGregor or Dustin Poirier?
Conor McGregor.
Okay.
I think he's better. I think he's more talented. I like Dustin Poirier too. I think both of them are amazing fighters. Obviously, Conor McGregor is more like of a showman, but I think Conor McGregor has just been very, very, very sharp, and his mindset is good. And a lot of people, when they step in the cage, they can't take the heat, because I've seen people who are amazing fighters kind of like mentally not perform as well. You saw it with Cowboy Cerrone when he went against McGregor. So yeah, I think McGregor performs very well under the spotlight.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I would like to say that I'm with Dustin Poirier, but I'm not. So we're in the same boat. Before we call it a day, thank you. You brought a lot of value, but how can people find more about yourself, any project that you want to mention again? I'll put everything in the show notes, but what's going on in your life? Let me know.
So Mina Elias on Facebook, and then at Egyptian_prescription_Elias on Instagram. I usually share everything there. I'm on LinkedIn, but I don't really check it there. The PPCuniversity.com. If you're looking for help with PPC, understanding PPC, all that kind of stuff. And then follow the Brax FBA or Sammer Brax on YouTube, and then Brax FBA is the Facebook group. That's where me and Sammer are sharing everything. And very soon we're going to have a full playbook. And so the playbook is basically going to be every single thing we did for our neuro business, step by step, with a video, with a link to whatever you need. And it's pretty much, you can call it like the most comprehensive course out there to launch our business. And it's 100% free. It's just part of, the series anyways, we're doing this stuff. Anyways, I have a partner who doesn't know much about Amazon that I would love for her to learn more about it. So I said, let's just do the whole thing. And then, I can give it to my employees who want to learn more about Amazon. I can give it to a lot of people. And then, it's going to do a lot of good to the community. I don't feel necessary that I need to charge people money for it. I think the series is going to do well. So, if you're on Sammer Brax on YouTube or the Brax FBA channel for the Neuro series, the Brax FBA Facebook group for the Neuro series, you're going to have access to the playbook.
Okay, I'll put it in the show notes. And I do know you have a podcast. So why don't you mention that as well?
Man. So yesterday, I just released my first episode of my podcast. It's called Undisputed Mindset. And so it's on Spotify right now. You can go check it out. It should be on Apple Podcasts soon, but it's on Spotify for sure. But basically, I'm going after the most successful people I can get my hands on and figuring out what in their mindset. So it's not going to be like this. There's not going to be any, storytelling or tactics, but it's more going to be what is in their minds, their mindset that makes them different. Because for me, when I started doing the whole self-accountability, when I changed my mindset, progress over perfection, I really evolved. And so why are these people doing 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 50 million? What's in their mind and what's in their mindset? And then I'm trying to, get that from them.
Amazing. Well, Mina, you delivered a lot.
It's every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific, California time. So every Monday, 12 p.m. California time.
Put them in the show notes below. Thank you. You delivered a lot. And I'm not surprised. I'm following you for a while. And I think every time you show up is just a feast of knowledge. And I really appreciate you. So please keep on doing what you're doing. And I'm really happy to get to know you now. And hopefully we'll do it more and more of those. Thank you very much. And for you guys, you can follow us. The links are below. And I'll see you next one. Bye-bye.